getting late at night, so I gotta kind of keep it down. All right, keeping on my theme of end times prophecies and stuff like that. Again, this is coming from a person who's not really religious, but I do find some of the correlations between things that are going on in today's world, uh, and the correlations between, say, the Quran, the Bible, regular Bible, Christianity and stuff like that, and even Judeo-Christian and Judaism and all the other spin-offs that are there. And it seems like they're all telling a story from a different narrative, but they're all kind of telling the same story, and each one of them has certain characters in it that I wanted to bring up. I've already done the Archangel Michael and the Archangel Lucifer because these are kind of big characters in this big story, and I think the books are actually kind of meant to be used together. But the problem is they can all be wrong, but only one can actually be right. So what I mean by that, let's say, okay, we'll go with the atheist kind of view of it's all BS. It's just man-made prophecy. It's man-made religion, all that. Okay, so then if they're right, then that means you don't have to worry about any of this. It's all wrong. Like there's all the books are wrong. Now, if the atheists are wrong and people of faith are right, then who's right? This is where it gets interesting, right? So anyway, I'm just going to read you, and I know this is going to be kind of dry and long. I didn't realize how dry and long the last two videos were, but it is building up to something that I'm going to be kind of try to piece together. But you need to know the framework in which I'm starting with of the characters, so that when we're talking, we can reference in our mind, say, yeah, I remember reading or hearing about that this is something that plays into what's going on. So with that said, Mahdi, al-Mahdi. Okay, in Islamic eschatology, and there's a lot of big book words that I can't really pronounce well, so just bear with me. So anyway, the Mahdi, Eric, or Mahdi in Arabic, I can't read the writing. ISO 233. Mahdi English guided. In English, it means the guided one, which, if we relate to Lucifer, the morning star, the light bringer, there's so many different names here. So are these people talking, again, from book to book? Are they talking about the same person just with a different, different spin on it? But anyway, keep going. So the guided one is what he's known as. Is the prophesied redeemer of Islam who will rule for 7, 9, or 19 years, according to different interpretations, before the day of judgment. Yawam al-Qiyam. I'm sure I said it wrong, but that's what they call it. Literally the day of resurrection. So day of judgment, day of resurrection, same day. And will rid the world of evil. There is no explicit reference to the Mahdi in the Quran, but references to him are found in the Hadith, or Hadith. The reports of traditions of Muhammad teachings collected after his death. According to the Islamic tradition, the Mahdi's tenure will coincide with the second coming of Jesus Christ. Isa. ISA is how they call it. Again, in the Quran, they actually mention Jesus. From what I hear, they mention Jesus more in the Quran than they do Muhammad. So maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. But I've only read a little bit of the Quran. I read a bit of the Book of Psalms, a bit of the Book of Mormon. I'm not a scholar. I find this stuff kind of interesting, So I dabble in it. Okay, just because I think it tells the story of our world, right? So. And how people lived back then, and how it correlates to now. So anyway, I find it interesting. Okay, so who is to assist Mahdi against the Masha Dajjal, literally the false Messiah or Antichrist? Now, differences exist in the concept of Mahdi between Sunni Muslims and adherents of the Shia tradition. Sunnis and Shia typically don't get along, if you haven't noticed. For Sunnis, the Mahdi is Muhammad's successor who is yet to come. For the Shia Muslims, the Mahdi was born but disappeared and will remain hidden from humanity until he reappears to bring justice to the world. A doctrine known as the occultation for the Twelver Shia. This hidden imam is, or 12th imam, I guess, is Muhammad al-Mahdi, the 12th imam. Throughout history, various individuals have claimed the Mahdi to be the Mahdi. These have included Muhammad Jafari, founder of Mahdaviya sect, and Sayyida Allah Muhammad, founder of Babism, Muhammad Ahmed, who established the Mahdist state in Sudan in the 19th century, and the Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, I'm bad with names, founder of the Ahmadiyya sect. Okay, and moving right along. Okay, history developed. There is a lack of evidence of the saber figures such as Muhammad being part of the teachings of Islam during the life of Muhammad, 570 to 630. Um, neither the Quran nor uh, Neither the Quran nor the early Hadith collected make any explicit to the reference to the Mahdi. However, with a half a century of Muhammad's death, the figure of Mahdi is past of Islamic belief. It may be that the concept of Mahdi, or the gosh, concept of the Mahdi was derivative from Messianic Judeo-Christian's belief. The term itself was properly introduced into Islam by the South Arabian tribes who had settled in Syria in the mid-7th century. They believed Mahdi would lead them back to their homes and reestablish their hierarchic kingdom. They also believed that it would be eventually conquered by Constantinople. Okay, which Constantinople, we know who he is. And if you don't, well, he was, look him up. I'm already gonna. This is gonna be long enough. You'll just have to look at him. The second civil war, 680 to 692, marks the true birth of the concept of the Mahdi as the messianic figure, uh, messianic messenger type of figure, right? The term Mahdi was first used in the sense during the rebellion of Allah Muqtadir in the 1680s and reference to the Muhammad al-Hanafiya. I'm sure I'm butchering the names here, but anyway, you get the idea. It seems likely that the attribute of the Messianic, it's not Masonic, Messianic qualities of the Mahdi originated from the two groups supporting the Allah Hanafiya. If I said it right. Southern Arabian settlers who located recently converts into Iraq. They became known as the Kazanites, with a K, Kazanites, and introduced what later become the two key aspects of Shia concept of Mahdi. The first was the notion of the return of the dead, particularly of the imams. The second was the after Allah Haniyafia death, they would believe he was in fact hiding in Razwa mountains near Medina. This later developed into doctrine known as the occultation. Okay, the Mahdi appeared in the early Shiite narratives, spread widely among the Shiite groups, and became disassociated from the historical figure Muhammad Hanafiya, Hanafiya. By the time the Abbasid Revolution in 750, Mahdism was also a known concept. Evidence shows that the first Abbasid Caliphate assumed the title of the Mahdi for himself. Many traditions were introduced of the supported political interest, especially in anti-Abbadist sentiments. During the 10th century, during the 10th century, based on these early beliefs, the doctrine of Mahdis was exclusively expanded. Al-Kulani, Ibrahim al-Qayyim, and Ibn Babwayhi, sure I'm butchering that too. Particularly in the 10th century, the doctrine was the occultation, which declares that the 12th Imam did not die but was concealed by God from the eyes of men, was expounded. The Mahdi became synonymous with the hidden Imam, who was thought to be the oscillation and uh, uh, awaiting the time of the God and the order of his return. His return is investigated on occurring shortly before the final day of judgment. In fact, the concept of the hidden Imam was attributed to several Imams in turn. Sunni Islam. The Sunnis view the Mahdi as the successor of Muhammad, but unlike most Shia Muslims, do not believe that the Mahdi has already been born. The Mahdi is expected to arrive and rule the world and the reestablish righteousness. References interpreted in the Hadith. Mahdi is frequently mentioned in the Sunni Hadith establishing the Caliphate. Um, Among Sunnis, some believe the Mahdi will be an ordinary man. The following Sunnis hadith makes reference to the Mahdi. Muhammad is quoted by saying about the Muhammad, his name will be my name, and his father's name my father's name. Okay, even the entire duration of the world exists, he has already been exhausted, and only one day left is before doomsday. Allah will expand that day to such a length of time as to accommodate the kingdom of persons from the Allah Bayat who will call by my name. He will fill out the earth with peace and justice, and it will have been full of injustice and tyranny by then. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff to read. Salma, a wife of Muhammad, is quoted as saying, his, in quotes, the Mahdi's aim is to establish moral system from which supertenuous faiths have been eliminated. In the same way the students enter Islam, so unbelievers will come to believe. When the Mahdi appears, Allah will cause such power of his vision and hearing of it to be manifested in the believers that the Mahdi will call the whole world from where they are with no postman involved, and they will hear him and even see him. Abu Said al-Kurdi is quoted as saying, "The messenger of Allah said, he is one of us." Ooh, that's a very, very, very. Ooh, he is one of us. Oh, wow. I know somebody who said, "I am one of you," but this guy said, "He is one of." Ooh, that's creepy. The messenger of Allah said, "The Mahdi is of the lineage with high forehead and long, thin curved nose. He will fill the earth with fairness and justice, and it will fill the oppressed and injustice, and he will rule for 7 years." The messenger of Allah said, "At the end of the time of my Ummah, the Mahdi will appear. Allah will grant him rain. The earth will bring forth its fruits. He will give us the lot of money. Cattle will increase, and the Ummah will become great. He will rule for 7 or 8 years." At-Tirmidhi reported to Muhammad said, the Mahdi is from my Ummah. He will be born and live to rule 5 or 7 or 9 years. If one goes to him and says, "Give me a charity," he will fill one's garment with one's needs. The Alma reported that Muhammad said, "The face that Mahdi shall shine upon the surface of the moon." The Al-Trabani reported that his forehead will be broad and his nose will be high. His face will shine like a star, and he will have a black spot on his left cheek. The Tarabani, modern views. The typical modernist in the views of Muhammad Abu al-Maududi, 1903 to 1979. The Pakistani Islamic relativist stated that the Mahdi will be a modern Islamic reformer statesman who will unite the Ummah and revolutionize the world according to the ideology of Islam, but will never claim to be the Mahdi. Instead, receive Smolnus recognized as such. Some Islamic scholars reject Mahdi doctrine, including the Alma Tama Imadi, 1888 to 1972. Almi Habar Rama Kanavali, Java Ahmad Gramad, 1951 to, okay, Javed Ahmed, I guess the guy's still alive, so, writes in his Mizan. Uh, Besides these, the coming of the Mahdi and that of Jesus from the heavens are also regarded as a sign of the day of judgment. I have not mentioned them. The reasons that the narratives of the coming of the Mahdi does not conform to the standards of the Hadith criticism set forth by the Mujahidith. Some of them are weak and some fabricated, no doubt, but the narratives which we are accepting with regard to the chain of narration inform of the coming generation generous caliphate, Muslim number 7318. However, they are deeply deliberated upon, and it becomes evident that the caliphate they refer to is the Umar ibn Abba al-Aziz, who is the last caliphate from the Sunni standpoint. This prediction of the Prophet has been materialized in his personality word for word. One need not wait for any other Mahdi now. The caliphate, I mean, you see how, okay, like, you might as well say the new caliphate has already been formed. I mean, that's what's going on in the Middle East right now. Yeah, there's a lot of people pushing the hand there and stuff like that, but nonetheless, if we go with, what they're saying, I mean, people foresaw this a long time ago. So is it the broken clock is right twice a day? Or is it, people that believe that this is going to happen so much that they force it to happen, and make claims or whatever? Or is, by forcing it to happen, is that not prophecy fulfilled? So it's kind of weird how you're going to take on it, but no matter what you look at, you are seeing some of the stuff play out in the real world as we speak. So, Shiism. The Shia Islam and the Mahdi association with the belief of the oscillation that the Mahdi is a hidden imam who has already been born and who will one day return alongside Jesus to fill the world with justice. Some Shia, such as the Zadis and the Nizari Ismaili, do not believe in the idea of the occultation. The groups which do believe in different as the which lineage of the Imamate is valid, therefore which individuals has gone into the occultation. They believe that there are many signs that will indicate that the time of his returns. Shias believe that the arrival of the Mahdi will be significant by the following reports. The vast majority of people who profess to be Muslim will be only in names despite their practice of Islam rites, and it will be there they who make war with the Mahdi. We could kind of see that playing out. A lot of false Muslims out there. I'm not a Muslim, but a lot of people killing in the name of, right? Before his coming will be a red death, a white death, a killing of 2/3 of the world's population. The red death signifies violence, and the white death is plague. We got a big Ebola breakout. We got war everywhere. 1/3 of the world's population will die from the red death, and the other third will die from the white death. Okay, several figures will appear. The one-eyed Antichrist, Madish Dajjal, the Al-Harth, Al-Mansur, Shuba bin Salih. I'm so bad with this. The Sufani. Okay, so anyway, there will be a great conflict in the land of. I'll give you one guess of which country will have great conflict. The land of Syria, until it is destroyed. So if you believe in end times prophecy, you could see that again. In Islam, they're talking about the same things that the King James Bible is talking about. The same thing that the Book of Solomon is talking about. The same. You see what I mean? They're all talking about the same story, and they're all talking about from Syria. Syria has a big play in this. The death and fear will affect the people. Baghdad and Iraq, a fire will appear in the sky and the redness will cover them. Could that be a nuke? I mean, just saying. Shia tradition also states that the Mahdi be a young man of medium stature with a handsome face and a black hair and beard. He will not come in an odd year. It will appear in Mecca between a corner of the Kaaba and the station of Abraham, and be and will be witnessed him there. Okay, moving right along. How am I doing for time? I might have to make this. Oh no, okay, I'm still doing good for time. I know this is a little dry and it works on long, but again, these are details. These are things you're going to need to kind of put together, and stuff that might catch your attention somewhere. Um, Muhammad is reported that he is to have said, the Mahdi is a protector of knowledge, and there to the knowledge of of all the prophets and all things. The domain of authority of the Mahdi is one proofs that God has created all things, and there is no so numerous that the Mahdi's proof will overwhelm. The influence will be dominant. Everyone and nobody will have counter positions against him. Uh, People will flee from him, the Mahdi, as he flees from the shepherd. Later, people will begin to look for the purifier, but since they be can find none to help them but him, they will begin to return to him. The matters of the astrided and competent, the Mahdi, Almighty God, will arise from the lower part of the world for him, at the lower and the highest places, so much that he will see the whole world as if as if in the palm of his hand, which you cannot see even a single hair in the palm of his hand. Okay. In the time of the Mahdi, the Muslim in the East will appear to see the Muslim brothers in the West, and the West will see him in the East. Muhammad al-Barak, uh, the fourth or fifth, 12th Imam, uh, said of Muhammad, the master of the command was named the Mahdi because he will dig out the Torah and the other heavenly books from the cave of Antichrist. He will judge among the people of the Torah according to the Torah, among the people of the gospel according to the gospel, among the people of Psalms in accordance with the Psalms, amongst the people of the Quran in accordance with the Quran. Interesting, right? Ja'far al-Saqid, the sixth Imam, made the following prophecies. Abu Bashar said, when I asked the Ja'far al-Saqid, O son of the Messenger of God, who is the Mahdi of your clan, Al-Bataya, uh, yeah, Al-Bataya, he replied, the Mahdi will conquer the world at the time of the world being illuminated by the light of God, and everyone in which the God worship becomes places where God is worshipped, and if the polytheist does not wish, the faith of the day of the God will be the religion of God. Okay. Sarah Allah Safar says, I heard Imam Abu Abdullah Jafar Allah Saqid that our most modest Imam will, to whom this occultation belongs, the Mahdi, who is deprived from denied his rights, will move among them and wander through the markets and the walk there, and they walk, but they will not recognize him. Abu Bashar says, I heard Imam Muhammad al-Basar say, he said, when the Mahdi appears, he will follow the path of the Messenger of God. Only he, Mahdi, can explain the work of the Messenger of God, and the face of Mahdi shall shine upon the surface of the moon. Okay, 12 verse. Whoops, a little bit too far here. I'm getting close to the end, and then they're going to talk about something else, about the Antichrist version of them. Okay, 12 verse. According to the 12 Shia, main goal of the Mahdi will be established an Islamic state, and apply the Islamic laws where they're relevant to Muhammad. Mahdi believed that the 12th Imam, Muhammad Mahdi, they will believe that the 12th Imam will return for the occultation, and Mahdi will, and company of his chosen ones, and his enemies will be led by the Antichrist and the Sufani. The two armies will fight in one final apocalyptic battle, where the Mahdi and his forces will prevail over evil after the Mahdi has ruled Earth for number of years, Isa will return. Isa is Jesus. I think that's who it is. Yeah, yeah. So, uh, the former Seveners, Isma Tay, the imitate the end of the Ismail bin Jafar, for Muhammad bin Ismail was accepted Mahdi that Jafar al-Saqid had preached about. However, at this point, the Isma and Imams, according to the Nizari and the Musta'ali, found areas that would be able to be safe for the recent founding of Abbas Caliphate, which was defeated and seized control of from the Umayyads in 750 AD. Other sects and religions. Sects. Ahmadiyya. The Ahmadiyya believe that the terms Messiah and Mahdi are synonymous with the terms for one of the same person, like the term Messiah, which amongst other meanings is essential meaning being appointed by God, appointed by God. The term Mahdi means guided by God, thus both imply direct ordinance and spiritual nurture by God and a divine chosen individual, according to the Ahmadiyya, through messiahship in the phenomenon thought that which was especially emphasized is given on the transformation of the people by way of the offerings, sufferings, forsaking of God instead of giving suffering, i.e. refraining from revenge. Mahdi Muslims believe that the special emphasis on given through the persons of Jesus and Mizara Ghulam Ahmed, among others. The Muslims hold the prophecies, eschatological figures of various religions that come of the Messiah and the Mahdi, in fact, were fulfilled in one person who was to represent all previous prophets. Babi, Faith, and Basha, or Baha. Okay, moving right along here. Allah Muhammad Shazari, October 20th, 1819 to the 9th of July, 1850, claimed that the Mahdi on 24th of May, 1844, taken his name Baba, English gate, so in English it meant the gate, and therefore founding the religion of Babism. He was later executed by firing squad in the town of Tabriz. His remains are currently kept in a tomb at the Baba World Center in Haifa, Israel. The Bab is considered the forerunner of the Baba Ullah Allah, glory of God, and the considered prophet of Bala faith. It declares that the Bab to the Mahdi is considered by the Bab to be beginnings of the Babi calendar. Mahdiya, if I said that right. Mahdiya, a select founded by Muhammad Jafari, commonly known as Nur Park, claimed that the Mahdi in Mecca in the front of Kaaba between Runk and Maqam in the Hijri year 901 to the 10th Hijri. Okay. And his relatives, such as the Mahdiya, he was born in Jaipur, traveled through India, Arabia, and Khorasan, where he died in the town of Farah, Afghanistan, at the age of 63. And the Mahajra regarded Japari as the Imam Mahdi, the Caliphate of Allah, and the second important figure after the Islamic prophet Muhammad. Sikhism. In Desmond Garth, the Sikh script attributed to the 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, prophesied that the Mahdi, referred to as Mahdi Mir, to be born from a purpose of defeating uh, Kaliki and the avatar of Vishu. And Kaliki becomes agnostic and begins refraining to himself as the Almighty. The powerful Mahdi will slay him and rule the world. The uh, unmanifested Baraham kills Mahdi and to create an insect which goes into Mahdi's ear and kills him. Okay, so uh, okay, this is a little bit left here, and then I can go to the second part. Uh, yeah, so there's a bunch of people that have claimed to be him. I'm not going to bother reading that because that's something else. Now, if we're looking at it, this is another character that um, is very controversial, obviously, and with all the craziness that's going on in the world now, um, you can see some of the stuff that I'm talking about is playing out. And when we get further into this, you're going to see uh, how a lot of this stuff, is playing out. Now, I have a theory that a lot of the stuff that you read about in the Bible is past tense. And pick any Bible. It's just people have experienced it, but because human nature hasn't really changed over the years, we still have war, we still have famine, we still have disease, we still have all those things. So when they mention it, okay, when they mention it in our times, we attribute it, I think, a lot of times that, oh, this is what they were talking about. But maybe they were just talking about their experiences. And it's just because things have a tendency to repeat themselves. But then there are some things that are just way too specific. And well, again, I'm not going to tell you how to think. You think for yourself. So now, here's where again, some of the Christians believe that the Mahdi is the Antichrist or connected to the Antichrist. So I'm just going to read just somebody's take on this here. Uh, in Islam, the Mahdi or the Guided One is the prophesized Redeemer of Islam who will stay on Earth for 7, 9, or 19 years, depending on the interpretation, before becoming the day of Yawma al-Qiyamah, literally day of resurrection or day of the standing. So we have day of judgment, day of standing, day of reckoning, day of the resurrection. So you could, end time, there's a lot of references to the same thing. Everybody's kind of the wording might be different, but we're talking about the same thing. Muslims believe that the Mahdi will rid the world of error, non-Muslim thinking, in injustice from the tyranny alongside Jesus. And the concept of Mahdi is not explicitly mentioned in the Quran, but there are many hadith traditional sayings of Muhammad on the Mahdi. Okay. Now, the idea of Mahdi has been described as an important Sufi Muslims as powerful and central religious idea for the Shia Muslims who believe that the Mahdi is the 12th Imam, Muhammad al-Mahdi, who will return from his present state of hiding has gained a stronghold on the imagined for many Muslims worldwide. So, common Sunni and Shia beliefs, Mahdi will be the descendant of the Prophet Muhammad of the line of Fatima. 2. He will appear. He will bear the name Muhammad, which is, considering the Middle East, there's a couple of people there named Muhammad. So, okay. He will rule for 7, 9, or 19 years. The number 4 is he's coming, will be accompanied by the raising of a black black war flag in Khorasan, modern day Iran. Okay. Number 5, his coming will be accomplished by the appearance of the Dajjal, the Antichrist, it's spelled Dajjal, so Dajjal. I'm probably not saying it right, but that's how they call it, the Antichrist in the East. Okay, he will return with Jesus as a lesser prophet. Okay, now I keep going on here. Now I don't know who wrote this part, but obviously they're taking it from a different standpoint from the Muslims. So just so you know, I'm just reading somebody else's stuff here. So Shia and the Mahdi. Among Shia Muslims, the Mahdi symbol has been developed into a powerful and central religious idea. Shia Muslims believe that the Mahdi is the 12th Imam, Muhammad al-Mahdi, and the 12th and last Imam, which, something just as a side note, you got the 12th Imam, but you also have the 112th Pope is the last Pope, and we in the time of the 112th Pope. Okay, just again, a lot of dots. this is going to be a long series because there's so many dots to connect. And I know I'm going to forget all kinds of stuff. The 12th and last Imam, who was born in 868 AD, was hidden from God at the age of 5. He was still alive, but has been in the occultation, hiding, awaiting for the time that the God has decreed for his return. According to the traditions of the Mahdi, be a young man of medium stature with a handsome face and black hair and beard. He will not come in an odd year. We're in 2014, so whatever that might mean to you. It will announce himself in Mecca between the corner of Kaaba and the station of Abraham, and will call on the people to pay allegiance to him. He will then go to Kufua, or a city in or Kufa, a city in Iraq. The hidden Imam will return as Mahdi and the company of his chosen ones. Also part of his return, he will be his enemies, led by the one-eyed Dajjal and the Sufani. The two forces will fight one final apocalyptic battle, and the Mahdi and his forces will prevail over these forces of evil. After ruling Earth for a number of years, Isa al-Mashiach, Jesus Christ, Imam Husad, and the other Imams, prophets, and saints will return to the earth. Signs of the Mahdi. Almost among most commonly reported signs of Mahdi in the Shia Hadith. Okay, so signs of the Mahdi. 1. Before his coming, before this coming will come red death and white death. The red death is the sword, and the white death is the plague. So, war and plague. Okay, very similar to, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Kind of same idea. We're missing two, but that's okay, because the other two things are going to follow suit. You know what I mean? The several figures appeared of the one-eyed Dajjal and the Safani and the Yamani. Other figures of pure soul and Nafa al-Zakaria will be assassinated. Basically, these are antichrists and stuff like that. The sun will rise from the west, and the star will appear in the east, giving out as much light as the moon. Could that be we know sun rises in the east and sets in the west, but it says the sun will rise from the west and a star will appear. Could that be a nuke? Who knows? just something to think about. For Arabs will throw off the remains and taken possession of their lands, throwing out the authorities of the foreigners. Okay. 5. Caller will call from the heavens, like the 7 trumpets. Again, we're talking about things that are similar, right? Just different spin on it. 6. There will be a great conflict in the land of Syria until it's destroyed, and Damascus will be in ruins. So we see we're talking about the same thing again. 7. The death and feared of afflicted people of the Baghdad and Iraq, and a fire will appear in the sky, and the redness will come over them. Very scary. Well, I guess when you're talking about the apocalypse, I guess it's kind of hard not to be scary, right? Okay, Iran's Jesus and the Imam return together. Iran's President Mohammad Ahmadinejad, so this is a little bit older because he's no longer in power, has suggested that the Jesus would return to the world along the emergence of the descendants of Islam holy prophet Imam Mahdi. It is well known that Ahmadinejad sees himself as the chosen one from the bring forth the 12th Imam. I don't think he was that far off the mark, but to pave the path for the glorious appearance of the Imam Mahdi, that suggests that Jesus and the 12th Imam will return to the earth at the same time is something new and quite disturbing. Again, how do you talk about the apocalypse without it being disturbing? So fair enough, right? Ahmadinejad sees Jesus and Mahdi working together to wipe away everything of the oppressed pain and glories and agony, and the Mahdi will reign on the earth and bring. Okay, so I'm just going to skip through some of this stuff. So, um, okay, let's see. Okay, what the Bible says about the Antichrist. The Antichrist will be unparalleled leader in the ability to speak and lead. What Islam says and the Quran say about the Mahdi 12th Imam. The Imam al-Mahdi will be unparalleled leader in the ability to speak and lead. That's pretty darn close, isn't it? Yeah. Um, in the Bible, the false prophet will support the Antichrist and deceiving the world into accepting the following the Antichrist. In the Muslims, the Muslim Jesus will return and support the Imam al-Mahdi in getting the world to accept Imam al-Mahdi to follow him. So, who knows? Uh, the Antichrist and the false prophet will have, this is in the Bible, the Antichrist and the false prophet will have a powerful army that will do great damage to the earth in the orders subdue it to follow them. UN? NATO? I wonder. The Quran. The Imam al-Mahdi and the Muslim Jesus will have a powerful army that will do great damage to the earth in the order to subdue. In any case, in a cause everyone to follow, subdue it and cause everyone to follow them. You notice how everybody's jumping in on the Syria strikes right now? You never know, right? And again, I'm not saying that we're in the end of days, but I'm saying there's a lot of correlations. So of what's going on and how you can correlate it. And again, that's what this whole series is going to be about. The false prophet, this is in the Bible, the false prophet describes as a dragon in the lamb's clothing. The Muslim Jesus will come bearing the name that the word knows as the Lamb of God, yet teaches Islam. Okay. Okay. In the Bible, the Antichrist and the false prophet establish a new world order. We hear that new world order term an awful lot, don't we? Okay. In the Quran, the Imam and al-Mahdi and the Muslims, Jesus, establish a new world order. But there's no new world order, right? Okay. So anyway, the Bible. The Antichrist is said change the times. The Quran, the Imam al-Mahdi almost certainly will adopt us as of Islamic center for us worldwide, hence changing the times. It is the 12th month calendar of 30 days with each Muslim names. Okay. Okay, in the Bible, the Antichrist false prophet will adopt as unrevealed mandatory religion. In the Quran, the Imam al-Mahdi and Muslim Jesus will institute Islam as only accepted religion. Okay, back to the Bible. The Antichrist and false prophet will executed by beheading anyone who does not accept the religion. Okay. The Quran, the Imam al-Mahdi and the Muslim Jesus will execute by beheading anyone who does not accept Islam. Beheading has been the official method of execution for Islam since the day of Muhammad and still is to this day, which is true. I mean, well, a lot of people in the Middle East, a lot of heads rolling in the Middle East. You know what I mean? I know, bad joke. A lot of Christian heads rolling in the Middle East too. Okay, so anyway, back to the Bible. The Antichrist will have a specific agenda to kill as many Jews as possible. In the Quran, the Imam al-Mahdi and Muslim Jesus have an order from God to root and kill all Jews. So again, whoever wrote this, I don't know how specific it is. Again, they're not giving me the the exact quotes, but okay. But anyway, going on with that. So in the Christian Bible, I guess, the Antichrist and false prophet will attack and conquer Jerusalem. Interestingly enough, all of the nations that Bible mentions as coming to attack Israel and Jerusalem in Ezekiel are certainly Muslim nations. In the Quran, the Imam al-Mahdi and Muslim Jesus will attack and conquer Jerusalem in the name of Islam. I got a couple more here. Okay, so in the Bible, the Antichrist will set himself up on the Jewish temple in Jerusalem as his seated authority. You're probably saying, yeah, but the Temple Mount was destroyed, centuries ago. You would be correct. The second Temple Mount was destroyed centuries ago, and the third Temple Mount isn't there yet. However, it's being constructed. Yeah, just so you know that. They decided to do that in 2013, just out of nowhere. Yeah, by the way, we're going to rebuild the Temple Mount again. Yeah, okay, just so you know. The Quran part, the Imam al-Mahdi will establish the Islamic Caliphate for Jerusalem. And the Caliphate is the religious and political leader of all Islam and all Muslims. The whole world will have to accept Islam. He will effect be the word of ruler of Jerusalem. Okay, back to the Christianity. The Antichrist will perform many miracles in order to deceive many of his into following him. The Muslims, the Imam al-Mahdi will also be able to perform many miracles. In the Bible, the Antichrist will make peace treaty with Israel for 7 years. Islam, the Imam al-Mahdi will make peace and treaty for Islam for 7 years. Now, never mind the tribulation part, which is supposed to be 27 years. But, I mean, who knows, right? Last one that they got here is Jesus at his second coming will defend Jerusalem and Israel from the attack of the coalition of nations by the Antichrist and the false prophet. The Muslim version warns that the Dajjal, the Muslim Antichrist, will appear and fool Jews into thinking he is Jesus, the Messiah, and fight for them. The Quran warns Muslims to ignore everything he says and flee from him. Would that be the riders of Khorasan? So, the number 666 in the Bible recalls that the New Testament is written in Greek, so that when you examine the number 666, the name I think comes out to Halo or something like that. We have to look at the Greek, look at it as Greek. What does the Greek look like? Okay, so there's some pictures here shows the Greek 666. Okay, if one looks at the Greek for 666 and turns it sideways, one sees that the translation translated as Bismillah, Bismillah, or the name Allah. Look right at the script in the gold, not to be, okay, well, you guys can't see this, so, okay, not found on the object, focus on the UUU part. Muslims will recognize this right away as, because it also, in Arabic, note that X or a note the X or cross sword is also a sign of Islam, okay, so there's a little sword there. So, okay, might not be, okay. Anyway, moving on. Islam and the number 666. It is interesting to know that many Muslims believe that the number 666 to be a holy number. They also believe that the number 19 is holy as well. Also, too, the Antichrist number is 666, or sometimes appears to people in dreams as 696. Just saying. Okay, 19 is a holy number. I'm not surprised that the number of the terrorists that destroyed the World Trade Center was 19. Yeah, that's right too. There was 19 of them. Okay, yeah. They call upon the people of Islam in the magnificent 19. The number 666 is believed to represent the Quran and so-called great prophet Muhammad. The number 666 could very easily be identified by our Lord and number of man, since it is the man-made doctrine and man-made book, referring to the author Muhammad. Those in Islam that believe that the number 666 and its purity believe that Satan used Christians to prevent the Bible. Okay, they believe that the book of Revelation was inspired by Satan, and that the use of the number 666 as a bad number in order to prevent Christian people from accepting the Quran and teaching of Muhammad because of fear. Okay, it is easy to see that Muslims wearing this number between their eyes or on their foreheads proclaim faith in Allah. The mark could also be symbolized instead of symbolic instead of literal, to represent the mind of Islam. Okay, so this is just this theory here. and all is going to take it. All it's going to take is for the Antichrist to make it mandatory order for everyone in Islam to wear it or prove that they are true Muslims. Anyone who refuses to take the mark, except Islam, will be considered not to be a true believer in Allah and Muhammad. As they conquer their people, they will enforce the mark to guarantee support for those and those allowed to live. Okay, so yeah, so anyway, that's just some of the interpretations, but there's other things too. Again, okay, yeah, 6 is the first perfect number in the mathematics. It is the only number that the sum of its factors and also the product of its own factors equal to the number itself. Okay, something I need to know. Okay, so it could what else would I read here? Yeah, okay. So anyway, uh, uh, yeah, it says try to search the Quran and 666. You'll see what you come up with. You'll be amazed. Okay, so anyway, that's just okay. So I'm off this guy's site now. Okay, let me just talk about other things. Oh, jeez. I guess I'm going to have to leave it at that, but I'm going to cover more of this as we go. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. So that's just some of the theories about this guy, but this is another prominent figure, I think, in the end time stuff, regardless of what spin you take it from. All right, so anyway, have yourselves a great day. G'day, hi, and welcome. Hopefully you can hear me quite well. It's getting late at night, so I got to kind of keep it down. All right, keeping on my theme of end times prophecies and stuff like that. Again, this is coming from a person who's not really religious, but I do find some of the correlations between things that are going on in today's world uh, and the correlations between, say, the Quran, the Bible, regular Bible, Christianity and stuff like that, and even Judeo-Christian and Judaism and all the other spin-offs that are there. And it seems like they're all telling a story from a different narrative, but they're all kind of telling the same story, and each one of them has certain characters in it that I wanted to bring up. I've already done the Archangel Michael and the Archangel Lucifer because these are kind of big characters in this big story, and I think the books are actually kind of meant to be used together. But the problem is they can all be wrong, but only one can actually be right. So what I mean by that, let's say, okay, we'll go with the atheist kind of view of it's all BS. It's just man-made prophecy. It's man-made religion. All that. Okay. So then if they're right, then that means you don't have to worry about any of this. It's all wrong. Like there's all the books are wrong. Now, if the atheists are wrong and people of faith are right, then who's right? This is where it gets interesting, right? So anyway, I'm just going to read you, and I know this is going to be kind of dry and long. I didn't realize how dry and long the last two videos were, but it is building up to something that I'm going to be kind of try to piece together. But you need to know the framework in which I'm starting with of the characters, so that when we're talking, we can reference in our mind, say, yeah, I remember reading or hearing about that this is something that plays into what's going on. So with that said, Mahdi. Uh, okay, in Islamic eschatology, and there's a lot of big book words that I can't really pronounce well, so just bear with me. So anyway, the Mahdi, Eric, or Mahdi in Arabic, I can't read the writing. ISO 233. Mahdi English guided. In English, it means the guided one. Which, if we relate to Lucifer, the morning star, the light bringer, there's so many different names here. So, are these people talking again from book to book? Are they talking about the same person just with a different, different spin on it? But anyway, keep going. So the guided one is what he's known as. Is the prophesied redeemer of Islam who will rule for 7, 9, or 19 years, according to different interpretations, before the day of judgment. Yawam al Qiyam. I'm sure I said it wrong, but that's what they call it. Literally the day of resurrection. So day of judgment, day of resurrection, same day. And will rid the world of evil. There is no explicit reference to the Mahdi in the Quran, but references to him are found in the Hadith, or Hadith. The reports of traditions of Muhammad teachings collected after his death. According to the Islamic tradition, the Mahdi's tenor will coincide with the second coming of Jesus Christ. Isa. ISA is how they call him. Again, in the Quran, they actually mention Jesus. From what I hear, they mention Jesus more in the Quran than they do Muhammad. So maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. But I've only read a little bit of the Quran. I read a bit of the Book of Psalms, a bit of the Book of Mormon. I'm not a scholar. I find this stuff kind of interesting, you know. So I dabble in it. Okay, just because I think it tells the story of our world, right? So and how people lived back then, and how it correlates to now. So anyway, just I find it interesting. Okay, so who is to assist Mahdi against the Masha Dajjal, literally the false Messiah or Antichrist? Now, differences exist in the concept of Mahdi between Sunni Muslims and adherents of the Shia tradition. Sunnis and Shia typically don't get along, if you haven't noticed. For Sunnis, the Mahdi is Muhammad's successor who is yet to come. For the Shia Muslims, the Mahdi was born but disappeared and will remain hidden from humanity until he reappears to bring justice to the world. A doctrine known as the occultation for the Twelver Shia. This hidden imam is, or 12th imam, I guess, is Muhammad al-Mahdi, the 12th imam. Throughout history, various individuals have claimed the Mahdi to be the Mahdi. These have included Muhammad Jafari, founder of Mahdaviya sect, and Bab Sayyida Allah Muhammad, founder of Babism, Muhammad Ahmed, who established the Mahdist state in Sudan in the 19th century, and the Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, bad with names, founder of the Ahmadiyya sect. Okay, and moving right along. Okay, history developed. There is a lack of evidence of the saber figures such as Muhammad being part of the teachings of Islam during the life of Muhammad, 570 to 630. Neither the Quran nor the early Hadith collected make any explicit to the reference to the Mahdi. However, with half a century of Muhammad's death, the figure of Mahdi is past of Islamic belief. It may be that the concept of concept of the Mahdi was derivative from Messianic Judeo-Christians' belief. The term itself was properly introduced into Islam by the South Arabian tribes who had settled in Syria in the mid-7th century. They believed Mahdi would lead them back to their homes and reestablish their Himyarchite kingdom. They also believed that it would be eventually conquered by Constantinople. Okay, which Constantinople, we know who he is. And if you don't, well, he was, look him up. I'm already this is gonna be long enough. You'll just have to look at him. The Second Civil War, 680 to 692, marks the true birth of the concept of the Mahdi as a messianic figure, messianic messenger type of figure, right? The term Mahdi was first used in the sense during the rebellion of Allah Muqtadir in the 1680s, and reference to the Muhammad al-Hanafiya. I'm sure I'm butchering the names here, but anyway, you get the idea. It seems likely that the attribute of the Messianic, it's not Masonic, Messianic qualities of the Mahdi originated from the two groups supporting the Allah Hanafiya. If I said it right.